Think you've explored every shadow lurking in horror cinema? Think again. While audiences fear what is visible, the true unease often lies at the margins of the frame, where subtle forms move beyond the actor's awareness. A fleeting shape, a pair of eyes in darkness, a figure caught in reflection, these are moments that evade explanation and linger long after the credits. For years, collectors and film historians have paused, rewound, and scrutinized footage, searching for anomalies overlooked by casual viewers. Cinematographers point to lens distortions, editors chalk it up to accidental smudges, and directors deny filming anyone beyond the scripted actors. Yet there they remain, shadows without origin, faces appearing without cause, presences that exist only in certain prints and vanish in others. Imagine noticing a subtle intrusion in a film you've rewatched countless times, a form in the background that should not be there, a shadow whose source no one can identify. These fleeting disturbances defy logic, challenging viewers to question the reliability of what they see on screen. These intrusions are not conventional scares or scripted phantoms. They are unexplained, ephemeral, and often fleeting, captured in a single frame or obscured in later edits. They hint at something that slipped through unnoticed, yet firmly embedded in the medium. Tonight, we venture into that boundary where cinema loses control, where images shift unexpectedly, and where 15 horror films hide moments the creators never intended to reveal. These are frames you weren't supposed to see, but you will. Let's step into the darkness. Fact 1. Don't Go to Sleep, 1982. In Don't Go to Sleep, a tracking shot across a dimly lit living room reveals an impossible presence. The scene was filmed with an empty set, yet a childlike silhouette darts across the doorway, moving rapidly and low to the ground. Its speed and outline defy conventional explanation, appearing crisp in the original broadcast recordings. Crew testimony confirms no extras were present, and lightning-based illumination cannot account for the motion. Later releases cropped or removed the frame, leaving only VHS recordings and collectors' digital transfers. The fleeting presence lingers, unsettling viewers despite its brevity, as though capturing a hidden dimension the filmmakers never intended to reveal. Fact 2. Terror in the Aisles, 1984. Even in a compilation of horror clips, Terror in the Aisles hides anomalies. During an interlude in an empty theater, the camera pans across seats while flickering light from the screen illuminates a faint face in the back row. The position, timing, and subtle illumination make it impossible to attribute to a reflection or shadow from the crew. No extras were present, and lighting was designed to prevent incidental reflections. Early TV rips display the figure clearly. Later, remasters obscure it slightly, though traces remain. The face seems to inhabit the space independently, watching silently as the montage unfolds. This moment exemplifies subtle horror, a presence captured on film that should not exist. A reminder that sometimes terror resides not in action, but in observation. Fact 3. Ghost Keeper, 1981. Isolation saturates Ghost Keeper, where a sprawling winter lodge traps characters in silence and cold. In a maintenance room scene, 3 actors are visible, yet a 4th figure emerges briefly in a far corner, partially hidden by hanging tools. Motionless, the shape observes the action as if silently present, unacknowledged by anyone on set. The production was minimal, no extras were scheduled, and safety protocols restricted access. Yet the shape persists across early prints, its form blending unnaturally with shadows rather than reflecting physical presence. Later, home media softens the anomaly but cannot fully erase it, leaving it as a spectral trace of the uninvited. The moment doesn't advance the story, yet it resonates profoundly. A silent observer captured in the background reminds audiences that sometimes horror resides not in what is scripted, but in what slips unnoticed into the frame. Fact 4. The House Where Evil Dwells, 1982. During a storm sequence in The House Where Evil Dwells, the camera pans across a fog-laden exterior, briefly capturing a head-like shape within the mist. The outline suggests human features, subtly forming and retracting with the movement of the fog, almost as if the environment itself had produced a ghostly figure. No extras or props were positioned to create this effect. Lighting was carefully controlled, and crew logs indicate no one was near the fog banks during filming. Early theatrical prints display the shape clearly, while later, home media releases diminish its visibility but never remove it entirely. Its presence feels deliberate yet unexplained, a fleeting disturbance that cannot be reconciled with the scene's controlled setup. The moment illustrates how horror can emerge from unplanned elements captured on film, The shape does not interact with the storm or the protagonist, yet its subtle intrusion leaves a lasting sense of unease. Fact 5. Burnt Offerings, 1970. Midway through Burnt Offerings, a sequence unfolds that seems unremarkable until it isn't. The protagonist wanders through a quiet upper corridor, dust drifting in thin strands of early daylight. As the camera eases past a heavy-framed mirror, a distant figure stands in its reflection, half-lit and utterly still. The corridor behind her, however, is empty. Crew documentation for the scene is crystal clear. Only the actress and the camera team were present. No extras, no assistants, no hidden background players. The space behind the actress had been blocked off for lighting equipment, leaving no room for someone to stand in the location where the reflection places the figure. The reflection appears only for a moment, blurred by motion, yet defined enough to make out broad shoulders, and a posture suggestive of someone watching. Early VHS recordings capture it vividly. Later releases soften the detail but cannot erase it completely. Some have attributed the anomaly to the aged mirror, claiming the glass surface may have been warped from decades of use. Yet those familiar with antique optics note that while warping can distort, it rarely creates humanoid shapes from nothing, and certainly not with such distinct symmetry. What makes the moment resonate is its quietness. The figure does not move, does not interact, and does not appear in any subsequent shot. It exists only in that brief reflection, like a ghost preserved by the lens while avoiding the physical hallway altogether. The scene becomes more than a simple walk through a corridor. It becomes a reminder of how easily a house filled with shadows can hide something or someone where no one expects to find it. Fact 6. The Changeling, 1980. The Changeling thrives on architectural isolation and psychological tension, but one corridor shot conceals an anomaly that has intrigued viewers for decades. As the protagonist moves down a long hallway, the camera follows his shadow stretching along the walls. For an instant, a second, smaller shadow appears, child-sized and misaligned with any known actor or operator. Its posture tilts slightly, as if watching the movement of the lead, then disappears just as quickly. Production notes confirm only the actor and camera operator were present. The lighting arrangement leaves no room for incidental shadows or reflections, yet the fleeting form persists across multiple original prints. Later releases obscure it through color correction or cropping, but the anomaly is undeniable for those who have viewed earlier versions. The shadow does not interact with the environment or the actor. Its presence suggests a moment captured by chance or by forces outside the production's control, a fleeting glimpse of something uninvited within the frame. Fact 7. The Entity, 1982. The Entity is famous for its intensity, yet a sequence intended as clinical exposition conceals something extraordinary. During a laboratory measurement scene, a faint humanoid glow materializes behind the protagonist's shoulder. It follows her breathing subtly, forming an outline that does not correspond to any crew member or object in the room. The shape is diffuse but structured, suggesting presence rather than optical artifact. Investigations reveal the scene had no extras behind the subject, and the lighting setup could not produce such an effect. The anomaly remains faintly visible in remastered editions, confirming it was captured in camera rather than introduced later. Viewers report a sense of unease stronger than the scripted horror. The glow seems aware, observing the protagonist in silent, imperceptible motion. This moment exemplifies how horror sometimes emerges, not from narrative or performance, but from inexplicable occurrences captured unbidden on film. The Entity transforms a controlled laboratory environment into a space of uninvited observation. Fact 8. Dead and Buried, 1981. In Dead and Buried, one of the most unnerving moments occurs not through narrative terror, but in a quiet, controlled shot inside a shuttered store. As a character crosses the frame, the reflection of a figure can be discerned in a glass display case. The movement is subtle, almost gliding, independent of the actor and crew. It seems as if someone or something is pacing silently behind the scene, unseen by anyone but the lens. The set was secured, only principal actors were present, and lighting conditions made accidental reflections unlikely. Restoration work has softened the image, but the figure remains in original prints. Its independence from the film's intended action elevates it from mere optical effect to a moment of true unease, suggesting a presence embedded within the film stock itself. This figure's presence does not advance the story, yet it leaves an indelible mark on those who notice it. It reminds audiences that sometimes the frame contains more than the director intended, a ghostly intrusion captured by the camera's eye. Fact 9. Communion, 1989. Communion is a film steeped in uncertainty and disorientation, yet it conceals a subtle anomaly that has captured the attention of vigilant viewers. During a quiet domestic scene, as the protagonist navigates a dimly lit living room, the camera drifts across a cluttered bookcase. In a fleeting reflection on a framed photo, a face suddenly appears elongated, pale, and distinctly not belonging to any known cast member. The movement is imperceptible without careful observation, yet the impression is immediate, an uninvited presence lurking within the frame. Crew reports confirm no extra or stand-in was positioned behind the camera, and lighting conditions were controlled to prevent reflection. Despite attempts to dismiss it as optical coincidence, the anomaly is visible across early VHS releases. Later, remasters obscure the detail but cannot erase it entirely, leaving viewers with the impression that something beyond human intervention intruded upon the scene. The presence does not move, blink, or react, it simply exists, embedded into the film's reality in a way that defies explanation. Its subtlety is what makes it haunting. It appears to acknowledge the camera without interacting with the characters, bridging the boundary between on-screen fiction and uninvited reality. Fact 10. Ghost Story, 1981. In Ghost Story, a sequence outside the old mansion features a second-floor window where a figure appears, standing perfectly still, facing outward. The script does not call for anyone in that location, and production accounts confirm the upper floors were unoccupied during filming. The shape's alignment with the window is precise, suggesting it was captured intentionally by the camera, yet inexplicably. Later releases soften the silhouette, but early theatrical prints maintain its presence. Its stillness, combined with the eerie framing and winter light, amplifies the sense of intrusion. The figure does not interact with the scene. It exists solely as an uninvited observer. The moment is one of the most enduring mysteries of the film, demonstrating how horror can inhabit spaces unintended by the narrative. Ghost Story transforms ordinary architecture into a vessel for inexplicable terror. Fact 11. The Appointment, 1981. The Appointment builds tension through isolation and subtle visual cues. In one scene, the protagonist drives down a deserted road, glancing in the rearview mirror, and a child's face briefly appears behind her shoulder. No extras were present, and the back seat was empty during filming. The lighting and angles make it impossible for a reflection or shadow to account for the appearance. The original broadcast captures the anomaly clearly, yet later versions obscure or remove it. Crew members insist no child actor was involved, leaving only speculation about technical oddities or unexplainable intrusions. The moment feels sudden and intrusive, a silent observer embedded in the narrative, yet entirely independent of it. This fleeting presence exemplifies the kind of unplanned horror that haunts audiences not through overt action, but through subtle violations of expectation. It transforms a routine shot into a scene that lingers far longer than intended. Fact 12. Blood Sabbath, 1972. In the remote forests of Blood Sabbath, the camera lingers on gnarled trees and mist-laden paths, creating an unsettling stillness. Within one shot, as a character moves past a dense trunk, a pale arm suddenly extends from the shadows, fingers reaching briefly into the frame before vanishing. The appearance is so brief that many viewers dismiss it at first glance, yet it remains clear under careful examination. Production records show that only the actor and a minimal crew were on set. The arm could not belong to anyone else, and lighting conditions make accidental reflections impossible. Strangely, this fleeting form appears on original theatrical prints, but is obscured or removed in home media releases. Its persistence in early versions has fueled decades of speculation about whether the effect was intentional or simply a strange artifact captured by the camera. Whether the moment is a result of a photographic anomaly, an unrecorded extra, or something more inexplicable, it leaves viewers questioning the boundaries of controlled filmmaking. In Blood Sabbath, even the forest seems alive, offering glimpses of the unknown in the edges of every frame. Fact 13. The Mediator, 1979. In The Mediator, tension builds with simple, confined shots of hallways and rooms. One scene, intended as a standard tracking shot, conceals a peculiar presence. As the lead character moves through a shuttered corridor, a shape passes swiftly behind him, too fast to belong to anyone on set. Its movement is fluid yet unnatural, suggesting it does not conform to ordinary physical behavior. Only 3 individuals were present during filming, and the lighting setup leaves no shadows that could explain the movement. Subsequent prints of the film maintain the anomaly across frames, implying it is not a transient effect caused by film degradation. Early analyses suggest a figure gliding through the background, imperceptible to the actor but visible to attentive viewers. This fleeting presence has become a quiet legend among horror enthusiasts. It exemplifies the unplanned, the uninvited, the small aberrations in cinema that can haunt viewers long after the main story concludes, raising questions about what was captured and why it remains unexplained. Fact 14. The Hearse, 1980. The hearse delivers its dread subtly, building tension in silent corridors and fog-laden streets. Yet one shot has drawn attention not for the narrative, but for an anomaly in the background. As the protagonist drives past an abandoned house, a figure appears in a second-story window, motionless and staring straight toward the camera. The effect is fleeting but unnerving, a presence unaccounted for in any production notes. Crew accounts confirm that only the lead actress and minimal staff were on location. The house was locked, and lighting was carefully controlled. No reflections or shadows from known sources could have caused the effect. The figure vanishes in later releases, leading some to believe it was edited out intentionally, while others argue it may have been an optical fluke captured on the original print. This uninvited figure leaves audiences questioning the boundaries between intentional cinematography and accidental intrusion. It is less a jump scare and more an eerie suggestion that not everything on screen is within the filmmaker's control. Fact 15. The Boogeyman, 1980. Few films achieve lingering unease as effortlessly as The Boogeyman, but hidden within its early bedroom sequences lies a moment that has baffled viewers for decades. As the camera drifts past a mirror reflecting the two main characters, a third face suddenly emerges. Faint, yet undeniable. It appears in the reflection for less than a second, yet the impact is lasting. An intruder in a scene that should have been empty. Production logs indicate that only the principal actors were present, and no extras were scheduled. The lighting and mirror placement leave no room for a natural reflection or trick of the lens. Crew members have repeatedly denied any staged addition, claiming the appearance is an unexplainable artifact of the filming process. Intriguingly, this anomaly exists only in the original theatrical release. Subsequent VHS and DVD editions either obscure it or remove it entirely. The unexplained presence has sparked speculation among cinephiles. Was it an unnoticed crew member, a photographic quirk, or something more enigmatic? The mirror in the film serves as a gateway to more than just the character's trauma. It captures something beyond human comprehension, a fleeting element preserved for audiences attentive enough to notice. Bonus film The Sentinel, 1977. Before we conclude, one more horror film demands attention: The Sentinel. Known for its slow-building dread and dark, claustrophobic architecture, the movie conceals a subtle yet unnerving moment in a hallway sequence. As the protagonist moves through a dim corridor, the camera briefly captures a pale face peering through a partially open doorway. Motionless, unblinking, it watches silently, entirely independent from the cast or narrative. Production records confirm that only the lead and a minimal crew were present. The doorway remained unoccupied, and lighting conditions eliminate the possibility of reflections or accidental shadows. Despite meticulous planning, the face appears in multiple theatrical prints, retaining a sense of intrusion. Later restorations blur the figure but cannot fully erase it, leaving an imprint that continues to unsettle careful observers. The presence is fleeting yet impactful, demonstrating that horror sometimes arises not from the story itself, but from elements captured unintentionally on film. It suggests a layer of reality within the cinematic world, a detail no one planned, yet no one can explain. Even within a narrative of impending doom and supernatural threat, this uninvited figure transforms an ordinary hallway into a moment of enduring unease. It stands as a reminder that sometimes, the most chilling parts of a horror film are the ones the filmmakers never intended anyone to see. If you've followed every uninvited frame this far, you've seen how horror often hides in the unnoticed corners. Which of these mysterious intrusions unsettled you most? Do you believe they were accidents, illusions, or something no one ever intended to capture? If exploring the hidden and unexplained excites you, join us as we continue uncovering the shadows lurking behind the camera.